Hey everybody, Mike Naso here with the latest on Tropical Storm Chris, barely hanging on. By the way, thanks for listening in to the roundtable last night. Over 7,500 people tuning in, as it looked like Chris would be much more of a serious hurricane. Looking unlikely at this time, but I'll tell you what could happen with it. By the way, Mike Watkins will be on tonight at 8:30 p.m. for the latest. Here's the latest information on Chris. 40 miles an hour, could go down to a depression. West-northwest still at 10, which is faster than yesterday. 10, 11 millibars, and you can see they're not dissipating it, but they're not strengthening it. So they're kind of going in the middle of the road, and they're saying what we're saying. We really don't know what the system's going to do because it's baffled us thus far. You can see it continues to move probably a little north of the track. So if you're in Florida, you're back in the cone more so than you were before, and it is expected to head by Tuesday evening in the Gulf of Mexico, considering it's this week. If it gets stronger, then it might be heading a little bit more north and maybe a little bit slower. It's just unknown at this point in time. Here's the latest visible. Little blow up of convection right here. There's what's left of the mid-levels trying to move to the south, and this is trying to split off from it and move west-northwest so it could develop again. There's the flow from the upper level low. The flow that was shearing it yesterday is down here now, so the circulation is not in all that bad an environment, but it's in bad shape, you know? I mean, you might be in a hospital, but you might be so sick that it's going to take a while for you to recover, you know what I mean? Hey, I think that was a pretty good analogy. Usually mine suck. Here it is north of Hispaniola. You can't even see it. A lot of dry air. There's the flow from the upper level low up around that, and there's the flow from the system, the upper feature to its east. Now, what happened yesterday that is so important? Remember yesterday in the video update, it was right here. It kind of sputtered. We said, okay, it's going to move this way. This time tomorrow will be right here, which it is. And that by the time it is, it's going to keep moving to where this upper feature drops, the upper level low continues west, and the flow becomes favorable for intensification to where you have some outflow jets there. What happened was Chris slowed, and this upper feature, boom, got right over it. That is unfavorable for development. If it would have been moving a little bit faster, we would be dealing with an entirely different system. I don't think it's the dry air. I think it's that Chris slowed down. I think Chris kind of got trapped briefly as this system moved to the south, and the upper low sputtered a bit yesterday. Chris kind of slowed down, and because of that, that upper feature dropped right on his head. Now, if Chris can fire back up some thunderstorms, he'll be in a much more conducive area for development. But he needs to start refiring thunderstorms now. Otherwise, it's bye-bye Chris. Here's that flow once again around it. You can see it's moving into an area of lower mid-level shear, but you can see there you go. If it can fire up those thunderstorms, it comes back, which is not out of the question. But at this point, I'd only give it. I'm not even going to say what chance because I don't know. You can see the SSTs near the Bahamas not as warm. They get a little bit warmer north of eastern Cuba, and then they get a little bit cooler. If it takes the hurricane center's track, it's right into the Gulf. Very, very warm waters. What's going to happen to it? Well, all the models are going crazy. I'm telling you this. No gaps, 144 hours. Middle Mexico. UK Met, 120 hours. Sabine Pass, Texas. And those are two systems in here as well. Okay, so you got, I mean, that's a big difference. Middle Mexico, Sabine Pass, Texas. Well, look at the next one. MM5, somewhere in the Gulf, with our other system following Chris's footsteps, and another one down here coming further south in 120. Then you got 144 Canadian from earlier today, which is somewhere over Florida. Okay, so I mean, just those three models anywhere in here where they're predicting. Also notice a strong system out here. If it took this track, by the way, it'd probably go out to sea, which would be great news. We don't need another threat. I mean, look at how many people lost their minds with this thing already. Here it is, 84 hours. It's probably definitely going to be somewhere in here in 84 hours. This is the NAM. And the GFS 120, there's our system, Cape Verde, probably moving in this direction. And then you can see whatever's left of Chris in the Gulf. Here's the GFS in 102. Now, if Chris is in the Gulf and there's something left of it, let's say it miraculously comes back as a tropical storm and heads through the Florida Straits or skirts northern Cuba and gets its convection back, this is a pretty favorable upper level pattern for it. You can kind of see the flow around it. So if it can get back over those warm waters and it has this pattern, as the GFS has been pointing out lately, then it could survive. You can see the model guidance, the cone of the models basically is, if you go towards the center of what would be considered a cone of the models, it'd be straight over eastern Cuba in towards the Yucatan, following, say, the BAM and the BAM medium and the GFDL. But its extrapolated motion, by the way, this is not a model, this is its current motion through 120 hours. For those that don't know, I know a lot of people are going, why? What is the extrapolated? It's always a straight line. That's the current motion continued for 120, which tells us something. The UK Met and the Hurricane Center are with the current motion, which is north of Cuba or skirting the north coast. So unless this starts moving west, which, you know, what happened yesterday, I'm not going to leave it out of the realm of possibility, then it's probably going to hit northern Cuba or skirt it. So, I'd have to say these models right now, I'd rather go with these ones than these, just for the fact that it's continued to move to the west-northwest. Okay? So we'll wait and see what Chris does, but at this point in time, I'm not even going to make any guesses. This storm's definitely a way to kick off the season, and knowing it's early in the season, too, is going to keep us busy. There's that tropical wave moving off Africa. Have to keep an eye as the Cape Verde season starts. Gilma depression weakening, Fabio depression weakening in the eastern Pacific, and then in the western Pacific, Parapi-Rune now tropical storm near Vietnam weakening. A large envelope, though, a lot of rainfall with it. And then we have this system out here, which, if you notice it, kind of showing some signs maybe organizing. Also this little curly Q up here, and then this one down here could definitely do something in the future. So activity continues throughout the basins, but will Chris survive? Dun dun dun.